liability. Now, if I go back and do another one of these, I would have to double check, get a lawyer to make sure that if I did another adult version of this, if I'm okay to do that, or would I get sued? And believe me, they would win on that one. Because I don't have, like the sister who really wrote The Matrix and all that, and it took her 20 years and she went bankrupt trying to get her money. Well, they know they can wait you out. You know, they can strong on me. So what I would do is I would take something totally different. I see the top, yes. I would take something totally different and launch it so that I'm not in non-compliance or, contract problems.
Oh, I'm so sorry. No, we are so in the mix. I'm hating to even mention the time, but remember we got the 3:30 cutoff, and we want everybody to get their book signed, and I want you to make sure to mention what you want to mention about the vampire series, about the werewolf series, and then we'll close it out, give it really half a second presentation, and then we'll get the books and we'll get this thing done.
Okay.
That sounds good. I don't mean no disrespect. I know everybody's got this wonderful question, but is that cool with everybody? Everybody else? Okay. All right then.
American Airlines. Yeah. Right. So okay. So let me wrap up by saying this. First of all, just thank you again so much. What is coming next, in one form or another, whether it's ebooks or if it's with a major house, is the children of. So Shadow Walker is on its way. It's been born, but I just don't have a crib for it yet. I'm finished with the werewolf series because I did as much as I really wanted to do with that, and I'm on Black Angels now, so I'm on this new mission. And the comic book, you have the first issue there. It will be 4 more that come out like every 6 or 8 weeks. And then they're going to roll it up into one graphic novel. Do I have time for 3 minutes, you think, to read? Or?
Please.
Okay, because I don't want people to feel like I came to book reading and she ain't reading. She just ran her mouth about politics, Okay. I always read from the prologue here for the reason that if I go and jump in to another layer of this, people will be like, wait a minute, where's she reading from? I don't understand what's happening, because it is so much of a continuing saga. It's one book builds on the next. So let's see. So what I'm going to do is, a lot of times we discount our children, and this is the prologue, which is the baby crying is who grows up to be the huntress, and the mother is who is Sarah, that I'm going to read from right now. And this is 20 years ago in New Orleans, and everything that this woman sees is not what she's seeing. She thinks one thing is happening, but that's not what's going on. Okay? It's really evil has visited her house. Okay? Sarah Richards stood in the middle of her bedroom trying to console her infant who was wailing at the top of her tiny lungs. Yes, she knew what pain was and wanted to cry out as much as her baby was carrying on right now. Instead, silent tears slid down the sides of her face as she turned her chin up to the ceiling and shut her eyes. How, Lord, was a preacher's wife supposed to deal with the fact that her husband was having an affair? For months she denied the obvious, but now her husband's lies regarding his whereabouts had been found out. He'd even violated the sanctity of their home by bringing this woman to their bed, their marital bed. Evidence in the form of the marriage violator's perfume and blood still clung to the sheets. She'd only been going an hour on a church errand her husband had contrived for her to do. 1 hour? And now this? Sarah covered her mouth and turned away, hastening from the sight of the stench and filth, taking her baby girl to lie in the crib. With her hands trembling, she left the screaming infant, whose wails intensified as she turned away from her. Shame burned through her. How could she call the church elders or talk to Mother Stone about something like this? How did a preacher's wife, the first lady of the church, forced her lips to say her husband, the Reverend Richards, had lost his natural black mind. Amid the now hiccuping cries from the nursery, Sarah became very still as she heard movement in a small clapboard house below her. There were two voices, one soft, seductive, the other was that of her husband. He brought this whore back to his home again. Once wasn't enough. Did he think she was so foolish as to run another church errand at night again so he could get away with God only knows what? Couldn't he hear his own child screaming her lungs out? And wouldn't he know that his wife was upstairs? So he didn't respect her. Or was it that this whore's pull was that strong? Bitter tears of rage and hurt stung Sarah's eyes. The pain of her knowledge almost crushing her ribcage as the muscles around her heart constricted. This woman, this transgressor, had a hold on her husband that not even a good Lord could seem to break, because Father God knew she preyed on it from the first inkling of doubt. Now her husband had brought a violator back to his house. No correction, her house. A home designed for a minister, his wife, and children across the street from hallowed ground. Sarah felt her knees begin to buckle as she envisioned the faces of loyal parishioners who hung on the good Reverend's every word, just as she once had. This house was not a home, nor was it a place where she or her child could find peace. She resisted her first instinct, which was to barrel downstairs to confront her husband and the heifer that had crossed her threshold. But something slithered inside Sarah's soul and gave her pause. The green-eyed monster raised his ugly head. She had to know what this husband looked like. Who was this woman that could break up hearth and home using something all women had? She wanted to spy, to know the things her husband had said to his own record. What lies had Armand Richards told? Silently, like a thief in the night, Sarah Richards crept down the hall, hugging the wall. She knew the house by heart and easily avoided the creaky floorboards. Stretching her body, she clung to the very paint as she peered around the corner of the landing. The baby's cries escalated, her pulse rising along with it. She held her breath as she rounded the corner and froze. A tall, handsome male figure, the color of cafe au lait, and dressed in an impeccable black suit, ran a palm across her husband's jaw. The caress was sensuality personified. The sight stole the scream from Sarah's lungs as her husband closed his eyes and dropped his head back in a display of sheer feminine submission. Sarah took the stairs one by one, clutching the handrail to keep from passing out. She couldn't breathe as she watched in abject horror while this man, a man, not a woman, embraced her husband like a lover and lowered his head to Armand's exposed throat. When she heard her husband groan, something fragile within her snapped. Everything became a blur. Her feet flew down the stairs. Her screams outstripped her infant daughter's. The words became a chant. God, no, not that. She would crucify this beast, the fowler of her household. There was no rational thought as she hurled herself forward, trying to grab hold of his broad shoulders. She wanted blood, a pound of flesh. But the agile intruder simply swept her husband up in his arms as though sweeping away his bride, and deftly slipped through the door with him. Sarah gave chase into the front yard, screaming, crying, howling behind them. But only the night heard her. She spun in a crazed circle, searching the darkness for them. Where had this lover taken her husband, and so quickly? Sarah fell to her knees in the gravel driveway. The stones cut through her nightgown and pierced her knees. Bloodied, she lay outstretched, sobbing a futile prayer. A man, it was a man. Dear Jesus in heaven, no, a man, gorgeous, with jet black penetrating eyes, its regal carriage, flawless skin, thick black lashes, onyx curls that would shame any woman. A man, please no, a man that stood 6 feet 2, with a solid frame and strong enough to lift her husband as if Armand was a baby. She heaved and vomited, wiped her mouth and clawed the dirt until she could push herself upright. She stared up at the sky and then at the window of her daughter's room. Sarah walked back slowly to the house and reached for the telephone. The church matriarch should send her daughter Marlene to look after the baby tonight, she heard her inner voice say. Marlene was good with infants. She was a nice young woman, yes. Right now, Sarah Richards had an errand to run. one that she put off all these months. She needed something more than prayer. Her husband was with a man, and the church elders didn't know nothing about pain like that. The old lady who lived at the edge of the swamps, yeah, she had potions and such to correct these kinds of abominations. And what Sarah would tell her would stay between her and the old witch. Thank you all so much. And I see Sister Zing. She's like, come on. Oh, man. Thank you so much. Oh, man.
Please accept this gift on behalf of Afriware. We thank you for your prolific work. Thank you for hanging in there. Courageous efforts. Just absolutely wonderful.
Most appreciated. Thank you. Well, I guess I should sign.
I've got to do the same.